a KOIN 6 investigation, we ask, how safe are you when you book a ride on a party bus or limo? Has that vehicle been inspected? Does the driver have the proper city license? I went undercover, and as you're about to see, I found some real problems. September 29th, 2012. Angie Hernandez falls out the window of a party bus in downtown Portland. The 11-year-old girl dies. Investigators say it's an accident, but they soon discover the bus driver didn't have a valid commercial driver's license, and the bus didn't have a permit to operate in Portland. The city suspends the owner of the party bus, 5-Star Limo, from doing business, and it promises to crack down on unpermitted operators.
I'm trying to reach Rose City Limos.
2 years later, we're checking to see if unpermitted party buses are still operating on the roads in Portland. Our investigation found records that raise serious issues about a company called Rose City Limo. We called to make a reservation. Their website advertises a 15-passenger party bus, and that would be fine except for this: an out-of-service order for Rose City Limo. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration issued this on April 15th. Action taken when the company never responded to calls for a required federal safety inspection. According to the agency, a carrier under an out-of-service order may not operate. And what about a permit to operate in the city of Portland? Vehicles for hire like limos, town cars, and party buses operating in Portland must be inspected by the city once a year. Drivers undergo background checks. Companies must display those permits on the windshield and on the rear of their vehicles. Rose City Limo didn't apply for a Portland permit for the party bus. Because no permit was issued, there was no city inspection. Armed with that information, we booked a ride. So on a rainy, dark Friday night, investigative reporter Carla Castano and a KOIN 6 photographer wait in front of Keller Auditorium to be picked up. Also along for the ride, a hidden camera. The Rose City party bus arrives. They get on, and once inside, it's a party atmosphere with colored lights and music. But as the bus moves down the road, our crew notices something: the door. It doesn't shut all the way. They can feel the wind rushing in. There's a big gap to the outside. What the driver doesn't know, I'm waiting at his next stop. As he pulls up to the curb, in we go. Do you have a city permit?
Uh-oh.
No, do you?
Do I have a city permit?
You don't have a city permit.
I don't have a city permit.
Okay. Why not?
I did have a city permit, actually. I do have one for my limousine. For the limousine, yeah.
But not this?
Not the party bus.
Do you have your commercial driver's license?
Commercial driver's license? No.
And remember that out-of-service order issued to Rose City back in April by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration? On October 15th, the agency revoked the company's U.S. Department of Transportation registration number. So this was never inspected like it was supposed to be by the federal inspectors? It never was, because you guys avoided that inspection. You also never took this to the city for inspection, and you were operating when you weren't supposed to be. You know that.
Okay.
I mean, you know that.
Right.
And there was that door that wouldn't close all the way during the trip.
There's a little compressor switch right there that most likely it's not pushed all the way in. When we were cleaning it, we leave that open. I'll check that out right now.
The more questions I asked, the more Michael talked about the city's permitting process. He doesn't like it.
That doesn't promote safety. That's more just capitalism, you know, but it's all about money. It doesn't promote safety because, I mean, I've never had any issues whatsoever. Permit, without a permit, or with a permit, with insurance, or without Portland's permission, or without their permission. And it's ultimately the person who owns the business, the drivers. I mean, insurance, it's there to back me up in case something does happen.
And something has happened. I discovered Rose City Limo has a troubled history. According to the city, this year alone, Rose City Limo has been issued $18,750 in penalties. All of those penalties are past due and have been turned over to a collection agency. And during that time, Rose City continued to operate. Is the city doing enough to enforce the rules? Here we have Rose City Limo. They don't have a city permit. He did not have a commercial driver's license. The door on the limo didn't shut all the way as it was traveling, the main door on the limo. They had a federal out-of-service order. They weren't even supposed to be on the road. So honestly, is the city doing enough to keep those kind of limos off the road, especially since it had a history before?
We want to get that information and send them another fine and contact them and work on enforcing this even.
But if they don't pay the fine, shouldn't we maybe take it to let's impound the vehicle?
That's something we'll consider, and that's something we're going to look at and work with the police on.
This is a new bus we nicknamed Ground Force One.
John Meek owns JMI Limo Service. He also heads up the Oregon Livery Association. The OLA is a group representing other limo owners and operators. He says fines and penalties obviously aren't working.
We've pretty much came to the agreement, everybody, that if we were to tow one vehicle or impound a vehicle, that would probably do it. But, you know, that hasn't been done yet.
The Transportation Bureau and our commissioner are committed to a top-down review of all of our regulations.
As for the Rose City Party Bus, our night was coming to an end. Do you think you're going to try to get the permit then?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the right answer, yes.
Okay, and what about the having the feds kind of starting that process again and then having them do the entrance inspection of the bus?
It's definitely, I mean, everything that needs to be done that involves getting the permit will be done.
Okay, you heard the driver. He says he's going to promise to get the permits. We're going to check up with him, and he told us he would let us know. And the city now says they're going to do a top-to-bottom review on how they enforce these rules. And, of course, we're going to be checking up with the Transportation Bureau as well.
Wow, what an I know you've been working on this for months, but the company in your story, they're not the only ones that don't have a permit, right?
No, and Michael, in that story, the driver of that bus, told me, he said, hey, I'm not the only one doing this. There's all kinds of others doing it. Why are you picking on me? And there are all kinds of others doing it. As a matter of fact, the city, since 2010, has fined illegal operators $480,000, close to $480,000. And they collected very little of it. And that's another reason to do a top-to-bottom review to see if this enforcement is working. If you have a story we should investigate, call our tip line. There's the number, 503-464-0861, or send us an email to report it at KOIN.com.